Hello, students. The next topic is this chapter Microorganism, Friends and Foes is short questions. Question number first. How did Antony von Leeuwenhoek discovered microorganisms or microbes? So this para in 1677, Antony von Leeuwenhoek, a Dutch scientist, was looking at a drop of pond water under a crude microscope he had made himself. He found tiny living things moving about in water. He called them tiny organisms or microorganisms. So that this was the reason which Antony von Leeuwenhoek discovered microscopes. The next question is define the term microbiology and microbiologist. You all studies what is microbiology and microbiologist. The branch of science which deals living microbes or microorganism called microbiology, and whose scientist discovered microorganism or microbiology called microbiologist. Antony von Leeuwenhoek is the father of microbiology. Next is how can microbes be classified? Microbes are classified in 5 types, or microbes are classified by following 5 types. First are the bacteria. Bacteria are many shaped, structural, and useful and harmful both. Second is protozoans. Protozoans are unicellular and all bodies made in single celled. Next is algae. Algae are green color or mostly green colored microorganism who is found mostly fresh water or ponds. Next is viruses. Viruses are the larger type of microbes. It's very harmful for us. Viruses are when entered in living organism they active, when exit in living organism they inactive. So viruses are very dangerous series of microbes. Next is fungi. Fungi are plant like structure but not a plant. It is chlorophyll-less, so it's not called plants. Fungi are mostly parasitic, saprophytic, but plants are photosynthetic. Next question is what are viruses? Viruses are fourth type classification of microbes. It is very dangerous series. We know that when viruses attack in active body or living body. They active, multiplying and causes diseases, but they exist in living cells. They are dead conditions. So, viruses called living and non-living connective links. Repeating again, viruses called connecting link of living and non-living things. Next question is, what is fermentation? The process of a microbes break down carbohydrate or sugar to form acid or alcohol and carbon dioxide is called fermentation. It is most important process done by bacteria and useful many industries like beverage industries and dairy industries or food materials. Next is, how do pathogens enter our bodies? Pathogens are entered our body by air, whose we breathe, through the water we drink, and the food we eat. So, pathogens are enter our body contaminated water, contaminated food, and contaminated air. Next is question number E. Answer the following questions in detail. Question number first is, where are microorganisms found? We all know that microorganisms found in everywhere, in air, in water, in food, and all the atmosphere, and any medium and any region. So microorganisms found in everywhere in the world. Next is, write a short note on fungi. Fungi are fourth type of microbes. Fungi are plants-like structure but without roots, leaves, and stems. Mostly fungi are beneficial for us because some fungi are edible and used in as a nutrient food. For example, broccoli and mushroom, but some are the harmful for us. Fungi are chlorophyll-less. If it's green color, they are classified in under plants. So, without chlorophyll, it is not plant, it is only microbes. Fungi are causes some diseases of human beings and animals and plants. Most common disease of human beings caused by fungi, itching or ringworm. Next is, what are the characteristics of viruses? Here we see the main characteristic of viruses. Viruses means poison. So viruses are mostly poisonous microbes. They are microscopic and most primitive organism. Primitive organism means undeveloped organism. Next is viruses are living as well as non-living beings, because if they entered in living body they are living, and exit in living body they are non-living. Next is they are so small that cannot be seen by light microscope. Light microscope is normally microscope, so they are visible with the electron microscope. Next is viruses consist a single strand of nuclear matter, mostly DNA. Next is the outermost coat of viruses is proteinous. Next and last in they multiply or replicate only in host cell. Without host cell, viruses are inactive. Next is how are microorganisms useful in food and beverage industries. Microbes, for example, mostly bacteria or fungus, yeast, is useful in foods and beverage industry for the process of fermentation. Microbes fermentation process is most important of food and beverage industries. They rise in condition ready the food making and ready for beverage industry. So microbes fermentation process is useful for food and beverage industries. Next is how are microorganisms useful in agriculture. Useful in agriculture, you know that some plants like pulses, gram, pea, green grams are not capable to taking environment nitrogen in nitrate condition. Mostly plants are taking nitrogen in nitrate condition. All plants are capable for this process, but pulses are not capable of this process. So the roots of pulses, some microbes are present like Rhizobium leguminosum. This bacteria convert the nitrogen in nitrate condition and provide the pulses plant. So this reason many microorganisms are useful in agriculture. Main reason is nitrogen. This process is called nitrogen fixation. So microbes play very important roles of nitrogen fixation. Next question is describe diseases causing microorganisms in humans. Microorganisms causing many communicable diseases in humans. You know that what is communicable diseases? Communicable diseases is they can get transmitted by contact, directed infected persons and carried out in infected animals. Next is how can we prevent communicable disease? You know that what is communicable diseases. So if we this para, if we doing some limitations of communicability, so we prevent communicable diseases. First, to keep the infected persons separated from the others and to advise every person to keep a handkerchief on a nose and mouth while sneezing. Next is malaria or dengue disease preventions. We should not allow water to collect everywhere or anywhere in our neighborhood. We should wash your hands or things properly before eating. We should never let garbage collect in the neighborhood. If we do in some processes, we prevent communicable diseases for us. Next is some activities for showing the microorganism. You see easily some microscope at a home. Firstly, if you see some fungus, take a piece of bread or moisture biscuits and it wetted and take a petri dish. Petri dish is a glass like plate. Second, keep it in air for 1 or 3 days in summer season and 7 to 15 days in winter season. Next, observe what happens after 1 to 3 days. You see a small piece of grayish patches and some are blue patches. See in this structure, some breads has spoiled or bluish color. These spoilage materials take a finger and sprayed in glass light. Then observe it under a microscope. What are you seeing? You see some tiny organ or motile. They are the fungus. You all do these activities. The next questions is question number 3. So this series are chart Some edible materials are showing here, and boxes are made in edible materials front. Tick the correct in boxes who was spoiled by microorganism and suggest some methods of storing these food materials safe to eat for a longer period of a time. It, this is your homework. Complete and write the write which methods you were prevent or preserve these food materials. Thank you. Have a nice day.